Dave stock is another stock that I am trying to build a position in. Welcome to the Fiscal Philosophy YouTube channel. What does Dave do? These guys do microloans. What is a microloan a competitor for? Payday lending. They do what is basically payday lending using Plaid to get access to the account to verify income. They issue microloans, usually in the order of a few $100. They do a flat fee model and they have a monthly subscription. If you are a Dave customer, you only have to pay a flat fee rather than the several 100% APRs that you usually see from traditional payday lenders. This means a lot of people are switching to Dave. Now, Dave had this drop on earnings after an uptick in delinquencies. Why would they have an uptick in delinquencies? Well, if they opened up their underwriting a bit to capture more customers, then it's possible that some of those customers on their first time with Dave will prove not to be good customers. In which case, well, that's customer acquisition costs for the ones that do become quality recurring customers. Also, given the fact that this is short-term lending, if delinquencies go outside the guardrail levels that Dave management has decided upon, it's not very difficult to rapidly pivot and perhaps tighten back up on the underwriting so that it goes back down to an acceptable level. It would just slow down customer acquisition and growth to a certain extent. My personal sense of Dave's valuation is probably that somewhere in the upper 200s to lower 300s is reasonable given their current growth trajectory and how profitable they are. And my personal view is that if the consumer gets weak, job report numbers are bad for a period of time, well, if people temporarily become jobless and then start new jobs, perhaps they are a little behind on a couple of bills. Maybe they sign up for Dave and you get something of a Dave wave as people rotate into new jobs after some weakness in the job numbers. Potentially. I don't necessarily view a sort of temporarily bad economy to be deadly to Dave. I do have minor concerns with this name around stock-based compensation and dilution. However, their fundamentals are growing much faster than the share count at this point. So I'm willing to accept what's going on with the share count, as a lot of the stock-based compensation is also tied to share price performance. So if the stock's not performing, they're not receiving as much share-based compensation. So the incentives are aligned between the people receiving the compensation and investors. I actually believe the people who should really be worried in relation to Dave maybe aren't the investors as much as the payday lenders. If I was a payday lender and I saw this growth from Dave, knowing that their business model saves consumers money and punishes my excessive greed, I might be very worried that more of the customers who are actually of maybe a higher quality who will actually pay might just switch to Dave because Dave offers a better value proposition for the consumer. But hey, that's just me. They really don't need to keep up this breakneck trajectory for much longer in order to justify much higher valuations. They are up and to the right on basically everything that you want to see from a business like them. Before long, they're going to justify valuations that are potentially even much, much higher than the one that I've settled on. If they can continue to not only go up and to the right, but beat expectations along the way, the potential here is really juicy. Increasing the customers is not the only way for Dave to make more money. They have a lot of monthly transacting users, and their plan involves increasing the annual revenue per monthly transacting user. And so far, year-over-year growth in this number from 2024 to now is 42%. If they can keep driving that number up in addition to bringing on new members, you can see why it's worth having a slight uptick in delinquency temporarily if each year in and year out, they can generate all of this revenue for the customers that are good, that do stay with the company, that don't go delinquent. I think management has a very solid plan in place here. If you have an opinion on Dave, please feel free to comment below. You can also join Discord, linked in the description, to discuss Dave in real time. Several Dave investors are in the Discord. Make sure you do all the algo stuff, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I try to put out videos as frequently as I can and give you the quick and dirty of why I like or don't like different stocks. Take it easy, everyone. Have a wonderful Monday.